Hey guys, it's me BaRKy. I just want to say a big sorry to everyone who watches the channel recently. I unfortunately had an issue with my computer where my CPU died. So basically what I had to do was underclock it now back to the default clock rate of the 6600K that I have. Yeah, I'm getting bad errors in terms of blue screens and stuff like that. I'm not entirely sure how big of an issue it is, but I will be upgrading in the near future. So thank you to all the Patreon supporters and the people who have been donating during the streams. But that is the reason for the lack of videos recently and the lack of streams. But now that I've underclocked it, I should be back to streaming normally, albeit just a bit more lag involved or a bit more latency with the game and stuff like that. But anyways, on to the video. So I made a video speaking about the patch notes and stuff like that for Beta 19, which is the version that came out in place of 1.0 because Tynan was not happy with the current release of 1.0, which is fine. And I spoke about, I pretty much went through the entire patch. I think I went through everything. I think I went through everything that the mod actually, the version actually changed. And I'm actually a very big fan of the new update. I enjoy it a lot. I've been playing it quite a bit recently in the past few days, especially. And I had to say that I'm a big fan. I wanted to do a highlight video, which I spoke about in the video that I put out last about my favorite changes. So here are my favorite changes that have come to Rimworld, starting with number 1, the biggest and best change for me, a search bar by the mod bar. Thank you, Tynan, so much. Seriously, this thing is absolutely amazing. I have been posting on the forums since since day 1, asking for a search bar here, and finally we've been gifted it. This is absolutely amazing. I don't have any mods installed right now, just because I've updated my Rimworld and I've done a clean install just at the moment. But basically what it does is it highlights the mod that you type in, so you can type in whatever you want. You can see as I type in something that isn't core, it makes it dark, and if I type in core, it'll keep it bright while the other ones will be dark, which is very, very cool. So this is my number 1 feature. Alright, now number 2, which I can't really show off too well, but Rimworld has been updated to 64-bit, which you can see at the top here. Now, 64-bit is a little bit of it's something that a lot of people can't really see, but in most older games, they were set to 32-bit. And 32-bit is actually the amount of memory each program could use. So 32-bit had a theoretical max of, I think, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and 64-bit is somewhere in the realms of 190,000 terabytes or something insane like that. Like it's 2 to the power of 64 versus 2 to the power of 32. So you can imagine the massive difference. Rimworld is now 64-bit, which will not affect most people, but it will mean that for mods that are made that use high-res textures, they can now be made as pretty much as high as you want, as high as the computer can take it. So your RAM is now the limiting factor instead of the game being the limiting factor. So yes, Rimworld was 32-bit until right now, pretty much until this update came out, and now it's 64-bit, which, as I said, lets you do a lot more stuff in terms of textures and a few other things. You know, performance should be a bit better here and there. But yeah, I've experienced many crashes thanks to reaching the limit at 4 gigabytes, and Rimworld does not play nicely. It's not one of those games that plays nicely. You may know that Kerbal Space Program was 32-bit. They also upped it to 64. I'm trying to think of a few other good examples, but a lot of older games were 32-bit. Like Fallout New Vegas, for example, there's a 64-bit fix that was modded in and stuff like that. So it's very cool to see Rimworld actually improving. It's nice. So this is my number 2 favorite change. Alright, so next up, my third favorite thing to be added to Beta 19 are bridges. As you can see over here, I have a little house, whatever, built on the bridges over here that I've set up, which you can find in the structure tab. Now these are really cool. Rimworld's been needing bridges for quite a while, I think. This adds in quite a unique mechanic. You can actually build on these bridges incredibly easily. So I can show you over here. Just like that. And obviously they can walk on the shallow water over here, but it's still pretty cool to have this sort of... Can you escape here? Yes, you can. Okay, it's still cool. It's still cool to see this. You know, it's still cool to see this in the game. There is actually a debuff that you get now called Soaking Wet, which happens if you walk through water, which I really like because it forces you to actually build bridges. You don't want a debuff constantly of -3, and also besides the fact that it slows your movement down incredibly so, down by 70%, which is crazy. Now there's a limit to what you can use with bridges. So for example, there is a weight limit or terrain limit, because what it basically does is it puts down a new terrain type, so it's called bridge. And sort of like sand, you can't actually put too many things in it. So if I build a ship engine here, I can't actually put it down. because the terrain here can't support it. But if I wanted to put down a comms console, which looks sexy as hell, by the way, check the new comms console. Looks dope. And I can put down this MISC multi-analyzer down here as well, and it still works, which is nice. If you destroy the bridge though, let me show you. Actually flame damage is fine. No, it's not. You need an actual explosion. I get it, Tynan. If we do this, and hopefully the colonists don't intervene, you'll actually see that the bridge itself gets destroyed relatively easily, and you cannot make it out of any other material, which is a shame. So you can only make it out of wood. I do think we need a steel bridge mod to be made sometime soon. And here goes the base. I'm sorry guys, goodbye. But yeah, as you can see, the bridge gets destroyed. We're in shallow water at the moment, so nothing too hectic's gonna happen, but still very cool. Very, very cool. Thank you for adding this in, Tynan. It's been requested a lot and I'm glad to see it. Alright, so next up for my fourth favorite thing is the new difficulty type called Merciless added in. Now, the difficulty has been changed quite a bit. It starts now with Peaceful, Builder, Medium, Rough, Savage, and Merciless. And let me tell you, Merciless is incredibly difficult. It is a lot harder than it seems. The old difficulty systems seem to scale pretty linearly, I would say. Maybe Peaceful and Builder are quite similar. But Merciless in this mode is incredibly tough. I can't actually finish a game with it. And that's a big godsend from in Beta 18, where the game just felt too easy for people who have played it for too long. At some point in the last patch, I just stopped using walls and turrets completely, because I just wanted to experience the game without that stuff. Nowadays I can't, so that's very, very cool. So thank you for adding in this new difficulty mode. I know that there are mods that changed difficulty or made it slightly harder on the workshop, but it's nice to see these things in the base game. And I think that's a theme with a lot of what I've said, and what I'm gonna say for the rest of this video is that I'm glad to see mods being almost integrated into the game. It shows a lot of sign of progression, and also shows that Tynan himself can accept that modders can make a good game even better, which is awesome. I will be doing a separate video on Merciless difficulty, trying it out, testing out some things in it, because I want to do an entire video on it, so I'm not going to go into too much detail now, but please go take a look at it. Tell me what you think about Merciless difficulty. I really want to know. Alright, so for my fifth favorite change in Beta 19, it is the new tabs that have been added in, which are mostly from mods, which I like, but they change quite a few things. So first up, we have the Wildlife tab. Now, if you've used the mod literally named Wildlife tab in the last patch, you'll see that we now have this tab over here that you can open up, and you can see all the animals on the map wherever they are. So I can click on alpaca and it'll show me this guy right here underneath. Not only that, but I can also hunt or tame them. Make a slot, go and hunt or tame them, and it tells me which one is predators, which one are wild, and stuff like that. So I can go ahead and kill them if I wanted to. Go kill the fox. Although, why would you ever want to kill a fox? These animals are so cute, man. Until they eat your garbage. So that's one of the tabs. Then the research tab has been redone in a sense. It's supposedly a lot easier to read now, which I like, and I can actually see that straight away. You kind of go from left to right now, a lot more linearly, which is cool. I've got dev mode on, so I think you can actually edit them, move them around and stuff like that, which is really nice. But yeah, as you can see, we've always had the ship at the end, but nowadays, instead of just going off in crazy directions, it's sort of straight. I know a lot of people used mods to sort of supplement their research tab or replace it entirely, but I like this. It's a nice change. And then we have the history tab over here, which shows you the messages that you've been given. So those are the little things you get over here. And then finally we have a new log over here, which shows you combat. So if you get in a fight with someone, if I go ahead and spawn in, mercenary slasher, my people might just get wrecked to this dude. I don't actually know. Yep. You can see I have all these details over here, and it tells you the name of the people they fought and stuff like that, all the wounds you've gotten and everything else. So the Black Goblins versus new rivals, which is very cool. So these are the three biggest things I think they've added in from mods, let me just say, but still very, very cool. Alright, so number 6 on my favorite changes to Beta 19 are the new Centipedes, or the new mechanoids, let's say, since Centipedes is this thing. So what Tynan did is he took all the Centipedes and basically divided them up. So before we had one of these Scyther people, and what the Scythers could do is they had a sniper rifle on them, and if you got into melee contact with them, they would destroy you. And then the Centipedes themselves had a minigun or one of these heavy charge blasters or a flamethrower, like a napalm launcher kind of thing, incendiary launcher. And if you got into melee contact with them, they would destroy you. And if you got into ranged combat with them, they would destroy you. In fact, these things are really fucking tough. So what he's gone and done is basically divided all their roles into 3 different ones. So now we have the Scyther, we have the Lancer, and then we have the Centipede. And I'll explain all the differences now. So the new Scyther is a melee-only thing. It's a melee-only mechanoid. And what this thing does is if it gets into contact with you, it rips you into shreds. It attacks very fast and does 6 DPS a second, so it will destroy you. And then we took the Centipede and made it quite a bit less accurate, a lot more tanky. It's still as slow as it always was, but it is tanky as hell now. It does 3.5 damage on melee, so I wouldn't charge this thing too often. But yeah, it is very, very tanky. And the heavy charge blaster it carries does quite a bit of damage. Now we have the new creep added in, which is the Lancer. And what the Lancer is basically the old Scyther, but it's not as strong in the melee department as the Scyther used to be. So it only does 3.5 damage per second. But they're all quick, they're all deadly. And they look damn cool, I have to say. Damn, did they even take down one of them? Yeah, one. Wow. Well, I only need one to talk about my next point. Damn, look at this, dude. It looks like that blaster bolt in The Force Awakens where Kylo Ren stops it, like in midair. Looks really cool. Anyways, so as you can see, it went down. And in the old Rimworld, in Beta 18, when a mechanoid went down, it was downed until you gave an operation to disable it. You cannot do that anymore, unfortunately. So now if they go down, they are downed completely. They're just dead. There's no way for them to get up ever or anything like that. Which makes sense because there was never a way for them to get up in the last one either. But now it's just fixed. Now they're just dead. Anyways, they are just as strong as they've ever been. Finally, some variants to the mechanoid side of the game, which is always nice. A lot more variants has been added to a lot of the enemies in the game, which is cool. There's a lot more enemy types for the early game and the late game, which is nice. Anyways, I think it's awesome. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Alright, so number 7 is the new buildings that have been added in. I'd say number 7 and 8 are both of these because there are a whole lot of new buildings added in, as well as the ability to actually pick up the buildings that you put down. A lot of the benches that you put down now can be picked up. They've also changed the look of them completely. As you can see over here, look at the new electric smithy. It looks incredibly cool. Machining table hasn't changed much, but I still like the look of it. Nutrient paste dispenser, the hoppers and all that. They've just had a complete overhaul in textures and they look amazing. It looks so much better than they used to. Just want to put down all of them over here so you guys can see what a lot of them look like. I should probably put down some power. Yeah, as you can see, if I click on a bench, it actually gives me a little seating option over there, which is nice. You can also see the new water mill generator over here. You put it on the side of a river and it generates 1100 watts, which is super cool. They've changed the look of a lot of the other things. The geothermal generator, can I find a hole to plug? Looks very cool. Makes a noise, definitely not irritating at all, I hope. But most importantly, and I think what looks really smooth, is the look of new blueprints that you put down. They are smooth as hell. In fact, it looks so sexy now to set up a base with blueprints just because of how good they look. Look at this. Oh man, it looks so good. If Rimworld would just stop telling me there's a penalty for working outdoors. I know. But anyways, how smooth does this look though? Like, it looks amazing. I'm really digging it. Let's put on some batteries over here. What am I doing? I'm not playing this game. I'm showing you guys off. So this is probably number 7 and 8 on the new building types, the water mill generator, and the fact that you can uninstall and reinstall benches now any way you want, which I love. This is something that's been needed to be added into the game for, you know, 2 or 3 years now, which is really, really cool. So I'm loving it. There was a mod for this called Uninstalled Everywhere, I think it was named. And it literally did that. You could just uninstall anything and everything. I still think there'll be a slight need for that, but I like to see it in the base game. As I said, I'm a big fan of taking mods and putting them into the base game. So yeah, anyways, let's take a look at the turrets next. Alright, so next up is the new turret system. This is my 9th favorite pick of the new lot. So what this does is it adds in 3 new turrets to the game. I wouldn't, 3 is a bit of a stretch, but pretty much there are 3 turrets now in the game. The uranium slug turret, and no, that's not the prefix as in the material, it is actually called the uranium slug turret. The autocannon turret, and then the mini turret, which can be changed, the material that it uses. So anyways, we used to have just the improvised turret in the game, which was just, it looked just like this, pretty... Good job, tree. Thank you very much. So it just looked like this over here. Let me get rid of that power thing. Just 3 legs and then a turret on top. Now we have 3 of them. The rolls of each turret have sort of been divided up, and now you get a lot heavier ones. And I think this was added in to deal with the new difficulty settings, but I still think it's very cool. So let's go ahead and test these out. So this is the autocannon turret, and I'll show you why it's interesting in a second. Let's go ahead and put... That was the autocannon turret. Let's try it again. He'll be fine, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. Alright, see so much damage that did. Shot off his ear with 1 shot. Nice. Destroyed his melon! Damn. Destroyed his damn melon. Alright, let's add in a few more. Just mess around. Pirate boss. Cool. You guys are really curious today, hey, my colonists? He lost his leg. That is very unfortunate. And his jaw. His armor stopped one of the shots there. I think we're at range now. Yeah. Anyways, this is the turret. So now, as you can see, the barrel durability has decreased, which is very interesting because as you shoot with these turrets, it doesn't use ammo particularly, but it uses something called the barrel durability, and that gets replaced with steel, or in the case of the uranium slug turret, it uses uranium. Come on, get power. Oh! Let's test this bad boy out. Now, there is a minimum range on both the new turrets. As you can see, it's set over here. But as I said, it's definitely meant for... dude. Okay, well, that was a good showing. It's definitely meant to stop the new difficulty from just running over people. But this thing is damn potent. It is ridiculously so. You really deserve to die for that. Curious motherfucker. So these are the new turrets. They're very cool. I'm actually a very big fan of them. As you can still just line them up. They are all pretty expensive. There we go. See, they're just tearing people apart, which is cool. So they are quite expensive to make, especially the uranium one, costing 60 uranium, 6 components, 30 plasteel, and 300 steel, plus it can only fire 40 times before you need to reload it with another 30 uranium, so it's pretty expensive. The autocannon turret is pretty reasonable, I would say, because it's incredibly strong for what it gives you, and then the new mini turrets are actually very cheap, very, very cheap. So we can put down all of them here just to sort of compare. So the uranium one there, and then the auto cannon over there. So this is 80 watts to use, 150 watts for this one, and then 150 watts for this. And you can see the minimum range on them over here. This one does not, or it barely does. These ones have pretty hefty ones. So it's very cool. Medical emergency. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You'll live. You'll live. But anyways, I love this change. I'm not the biggest fan of turrets. In fact, I very rarely use them. But I think with this new difficulty type, I'll be using them quite often. So this is nice. And Rimworld is dying. Thanks. Anyways, that's number 9. Tell me what you think about the new turrets. And then my number 10 favorite change, or should I say number 1 really, is the new attack. Called Pocket Sand.
Briefcase.
What the hell are you doing?
Give it. Pocket sand.
No, but seriously, there's a new type of attack called Kick Sand or Water in Eyes. And I can't actually get it to happen, unfortunately, but I've been trying for the last little while. But what it does is it kicks sand into the enemy's eyes. Or throws sand into the eyes. And that is just the funniest thing I've heard in my life. And it just, yeah, reminds you of the good old days of Pocket Sand. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm loving the new patch. I think it's really, really cool. I was a bit worried that it would be a bit underwhelming. There is so much stuff that I could speak about. Damn, Granny, you really destroyed her. There's so many things that I could speak about. They removed tornadoes. I love that. They added a whole lot of new bionic parts. Really enjoy that too. All the new traits, all the new clothing options that you get, especially for tribal and beginner stuff, is amazing. The fact that you can now use patch leather is awesome. Let's destroy this Granny, please. She's vomiting while she's downed. And I found an error. Don't think that's supposed to happen. Get wrecked, Granny! But yeah, there's so many things that I could speak about, really. These are my 10 favorite ones. They might just be a little bit stupid, but, you know, whatever. It's really, really awesome. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. If you think I missed something, please leave a comment below. I will be reading every single comment, so, you know, tell me what you think. Anyways, have a fantastic day, folks. I'll see you all tomorrow. Hey, thank you very much for making it to the end of the video. It's really, really awesome of you. I've got a Discord server that's free for all to join if you'd like to come and have a chat with me or anyone else. And I've also opened up a Patreon page to help fund my videos. So if any of those interest you, please go ahead and take a look at the description. Have a great day, and thank you very much for watching.